My phone.
That's right, Squatchers. Week 3 of the Superfan shows begins. It brings us a man like no other I've ever met before. I've heard bears carry defense spray for him. I once heard beavers talking about hanging their food from a tree just to keep it safe. I once heard that a herd of deer were making plans to dodge, dip, duck, diving. Well, dodge, as he heard his car approaching. He's the man behind Camping Tips for Stupid. He's our own great Captain Kevin Moore.
Hey, I knew that guy. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
On Facebook, that's right. The man behind Camping Tips for Stupid is joining us tonight, Mr. Kevin Moore. Man, glad you could bring us along for a super fan show. That's right. We're talking about gear and not gear and camping and not camping and shit you should do and shit you shouldn't do, all kind of cool stuff tonight. But as usual, there's just a teensy bits of stuff we got to get out the way ahead of time. Hey, it's Christmas time. Get yourself some Angel's Dust Seasoning. Facebook.com/Angels Dust Seasoning. That's where you go and get that stuff because it makes everything better, including watermelon. I didn't believe it, but this last summer, it made watermelon better. So put it on everything. Roast chicken is really good on pork. There's all kind of stuff. Check them out. Facebook.com/Angels Dust Seasoning. So we're going to talk a little bit about the news. Let's get a little newsy.
Let's get nosy.
Is there news? I think there's news. I think there's just a little bit of news. Yeah, it's actually, so it was Thanksgiving week, and, well, there wasn't a whole lot of news, but this popped up. Doug Hudson of CloneFX.com. That's right. That's KLONEFX.com, because we didn't think about radio ads when we named our website. Video, California liberals want Bigfoot added to endangered species list. Well, liberals, I got news for you. You can't do that until you prove that he exists, and I got to put one on the table to prove that that happens first. So there's only a couple of them around, so we just got to make sure that nobody shoots them. Look, if there's one around, there's at least hundreds. There's probably thousands. And if there's thousands in every state that deals with Bigfoot, that means there's a hell of a lot of Sam Squanches around. What do you think?
Well, maybe they're like pandas and are really hard to breed.
Well, that might be the case. Apes don't necessarily have a baby every year. It might be 7 or 8 years like the mountain gorillas, or it might be 4 or 5 years like it is with the orangutans. But which type of ape it is, but not every ape breeds every single year. So maybe Bigfoot only breed like every 12 years. Maybe that's why we have a juvenile problem and not an infant problem. I don't know, because we ain't put one on the table to figure it out yet. So no, sorry, we can't add them to the endangered species list, but thanks for playing. And I don't know. I don't even know what game they were playing with. I just can't figure them out sometimes.
Well,
Thanks
if
for
I'm to
info.
believe all the podcasts I listen to about people encountering Bigfoots and stuff, there's a huge population of Bigfoots out there. So
there would have to be with some of the stories and the sighting stories, the encounter stories. I would have to think that they're like living in houses next door. But we'll talk about that because the season of encounters is coming. That's right. Here it is. ARStechnica.com, their science division. Mob violence observed in gorillas for the first time. Our boy Cameron Young, that's right, Lord Cameron Young, our honorary lordship. He sent this one to me this week. Basically, what's happening is there's an overabundance of male gorillas, and they're not caring about the hierarchy anymore. The silverback came over to play around and join their group, the one that's in charge, and they just like jumped his ass. I mean, it was literally like stomp a white boy Tuesday. I mean, they just trashed him and ran him out of the group. And this is going to happen.
Millennials.
This is going to happen more and more and more as the numbers decline in these animals, and not enough females are available to create troops. All these males standing around should literally have their own little minor troops to themselves, but we're in such a decline in the megafauna on this planet that unfortunately they don't have one of their own. So basically they're the MS-13 of the gorilla squad. What up, Doug? We gonna hurt your ass.
So they're kind of turning into China.
Dude, I don't know what's going on. They're definitely getting thugged, though. Thug
There's a
life.
huge male dispersance, I what we call it. Way too many
Yeah,
males.
we can talk about that after the show as to why that happens. That's kind of a very not fun story. Hey, Lauren Michaels, the curator of the Cryptozoology Museum in Portland, Maine. Dude's really needing your help. If you got $10, send a dude $10. If you don't have $10, share this thing. It gets around really. He's got some medical bills that are just keeping him upside down, and we'd hate to lose a cryptozoology curator over a couple of $1,000. And sometimes just the stress of not being able to pay those bills is enough to see him, have a heart attack and go bye-bye. So check it out on GoFundMe. Lauren Coleman's rescue fund for his medical. Share the word, spread the world. I hope you get better, Lauren. I really do. Speaking of holiday seasons, jingle bells, jingle bells.
Well, that guy's your best.
Facing a big hairy monkey thing, looking for Sasquatch in the real world. That's right. By Jim Sherman, BFRO master Bigfoot caller. I mean, this dude has more Bigfoot recordings than suspected Bigfoot callings. Let's be fair here. I am Captain Realistic. He's definitely got a lot of strange vocals that people can't identify, and a lot of them come out of the Michigan area. And we're gonna have him on the air again this year for a round of hey, what's that sound? And see if we can't get him to play some Bigfoot calls for us. So check it out on Facebook, Facing the Big Hairy Monkey Thing, looking for Sasquatch in the real world. At Big Hairy Monkey Thing is the fastest way to get there. The book, he's awesome. He'll autograph it for you. It's like $13. I mean, it's ridiculous as to see. Well, here it is. The Christmas book deal, Facing the Big Hairy Monkey Thing, looking for Sasquatch in the real world. The price of the book is $8. Shipping including. 10% of the sales from now until December 25th will be donated to one of 3 charities that you will vote for, either the ASPCA, the Wounders Warrior Project. We can talk about that off air, Jim. And the Cancer Research Institute. The top vote will receive all of the proceeds. Look at that. He's even giving the money away.
Damn.
Merry Christmas to everybody from Jim Sherman, Facing the Big Hairy Monkey Thing, looking for Sasquatch in the real world. God bless you, Jim, and Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas.
God bless everyone.
That's right. Wrapping up the news tonight. That's right. It was a quick edition of the news tonight. Jash on Go9. This is a Vimo channel, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. The ad is literally here. If you really want it, I've posted it. It's been around. Bobcat Goldthwait, American Bigfoot, the interview. It's 10 minutes and 36 seconds long, but trust me, people, you want to watch this. I'll even post it up in our live chat room. Speaking, we do have a live chat room because we do this channel off the cuff, a live presentations. That right? Then nothing edited, nothing added, nothing removed. As you see it, as it was. I put the link up in the.
Hear it.
That's right, unfortunately for y'all, but dadgummit, that's what we like to do. We bring it to you raw dog style. Anyhow, this video really has some insight into the world of who the people behind these Bigfoot conferences really are. There's a segment with Dr. Sarmiento, I believe is how that's pronounced. Originally, Dr. Sarmiento was anti-Bigfoot. Bigfoot doesn't exist. Bigfoot isn't real. I can make my own foot and soak it in acetone and it'll make it bigger, and then I can make a cast of that and yada, yada, yada. Scale up my own foot, so Bigfoot tracks aren't any big deal. We can fake those too. And then all of a sudden, we see him on the Monster Quest episode with Dr. Meldrum, and he's examining the Skookum cast as though, oh, well, this is kind of remarkable.
Think somebody's paying him to say that?
So, well, I don't. Well, of course they were paying him to say it. He was on the show. That's how that works. He's right. A doctor. He's a doctor for hire. That's how they work. They pay him money. And he says what they want him to say. And apparently now he goes around to the Bigfoot conferences and still does anti-Bigfoot, how things could be. Patty could still be a woman in a suit. And he was literally comparing Patty to Michelle Obama. Serena Williams in some short shorts with a big booty. shot. Yeah, I mean, and people were like, it's all in this interview. Jash on Go 90, Bobcat Goldthwait, American Bigfoot. If you search for that on go90.com, it'll pop up. And I'm telling you, and that wasn't the only shocker that was in there. It's 11 minutes long, so it's not a long wait. I don't even know these people. I don't know how many views this thing. I don't really care. You definitely see some interesting insights to the Bigfoot world is diverse. Plus, my boy Craig Flippy. I mean, Craig and I have only hung out one time on the air, and I still feel like I know the guy because Crappy Little Dreams just looked like so much fun. We're going to get him back on the air for a catch-up before Crappy Little Dreams comes out. He's in it as well. There's some interviews that just make a lot of fun, and some are really, really, really friggin' strange. So
I'm gonna watch it after the show.
Yeah, check it out. The link is in the live chat room. If you weren't in the live chat room, then you might have missed out. We're here live 8 p.m. on Wednesday nights Pacific. That's standard time, daylight time, whatever the hell time it is. I don't care. It's 8 p.m., whatever the hell time it says on that clock over there. That's usually about the time that we start. And that's going to wrap it up for the news.
The news is now over.
Yeah. Dude, that was definitely cool. This point in the show, though, we usually do the quasi theory. So we're going to hear from our quasi. I know that guy, Dean Cooper. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Me too.
He's famous. Have you heard him on the Squatchers Lounge podcast? Someone said that he was the Squatchers Lounge podcast guru. Have you heard that?
I don't know.
He says he's gonna make a Squatchers Lounge podcast mantra, and I believe him. So let's take a listen to Quasi Theories, The Wild Hunt from Dean Cooper.
Shh, everybody shut up. It's Quasi time.
Shh, it's on. And now, Quasi Theories from a Quasi Scientist with your host, Dean Cooper.
The Wild Hunt. Back in 1987 or maybe 1988, between Christmas and New Year's Day, my wife and I were driving back from her sister's house in DeKalb, Illinois. It was around midnight and near blizzard conditions. No snow had been predicted, but hell, it's the Midwest near Chicago, and around here we say, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute. The roads were nearly empty except for us and a few other fools, and it was all farmland with few houses. The housing development boom hadn't gotten west of the Fox River yet, and being Illinois, the terrain was mainly flat, so the wind could pick up some speed. We were heading east with the wind behind us, gusting from a few miles an hour to a sudden 30 or 40 miles an hour, and then to nothing. Just as fast. As we neared a road we had to go north on, the wind picked up and the snow went blasting heavily past the car. I asked the wife, anything feel weird to you? She said it felt really eerie out, as though something was riding in the wind. That was exactly what I had sensed. As I made the left turn to the northbound road, a huge gust nearly shoved the car into the ditch. I drove a few hundred feet north and pulled off to the side, wanting to wait a bit to see if things would lighten up a bit. Weirdness-wise. The wind increased to a steady gale. We both saw what looked like human forms forming and disappearing in the blasting snow overhead. Sounds like hunters' horns and dogs baying seemed to issue from the wind. Tingling sensations ran up and down our spines, probably our hairs trying to stand on end. A few minutes passed. The whole shebang, wind, snow, and all, headed off to the east. I pulled back onto the road and drove us home. What was all this shenanigans? I think it was the Wild Hunt. The Wild Hunt is a European folk myth. Versions of it are found from the British Isles through the whole of Europe into the Slavic countries. Jacob Grimm thought the myth was a remnant of pre-Christian Europe. The hunt, led by a god and a goddess, either visited the land at some holy tide, bringing welfare and blessing, accepting gifts and offerings of the people, or they float unseen through the air, perceptible in cloudy shapes, in the roar and howl of the winds, carrying on war, hunting, or the game of nine pins, the chief employments of ancient heroes. The leader of the hunt varies from country to country. In Wales, it is Gwyn ap Nudd, king of the Tylwyth Teg, the fair folk, the fairies. In the Germanic and Nordic countries, it is Odin, under his various names. The point of the hunt is usually variations on a theme. That theme is death. They have come to hunt the souls of the dead and bring them to judgment. What were they doing there that night back in the late 80s? Were they hunting my wife and me or someone else? My wife and I survived, obviously, and there were no new wars, calamities, or even news of anybody dying in the storm. I think the answer is quite simple. It was late night, the holiday season, and these buggers were just out for a joyride. This has been Dean Cooper, quasi-scientist, enlightening you with my quasi-theory of the week. You may read the text of this on my blog at bydean.com. That's BHAIDIN.com.
That's right, like Slimer on the city bus, just out for a joyride. That's pretty good. Okay, well, now it's time for a little bit of the co-host du jour, camping tips for stupids. So let's sit back and enjoy a ride. Oop, we're going to make that just a tiny bit bigger. There we go.
Camping tips for stupids. Tips number 26. Feet come in many different sizes, shapes, colors, and even toe counts. Feet have been around with us for exactly 4,000 years, as the good book literally entails. Literally.
Uh-oh. Video is unstable.
But you can't exactly go camping in most places barefoot, can you? Who the fuck do you think you are? Cody London from Dual Survival? Someone tell that jackass about goat head caltrap seed pods. Those fuckers hurt. Literally. Now, you can wear flip-flops around the campsite, but don't expect to run from a bear in those stupid things. All you'll do is die sounding like your feet are clapping. Literally. So put on some proper shoes, you stupids. Northside, Timberland, and even modern U.S. military boots will do. And if you're too much of a pussy millennial liberal to even want to touch the ground, you can always wear stilts. This has been Camping Tips for Stupids. Remember to spay and neuter your idiot population. Literally.
Literally.
That's right. God bless the liberals.
Here we go again.
No. I managed to get out of it before it got away from us again. Well, wow, would you look at that? Thanks, everybody, for joining us here live tonight. There's quite a few people hanging out in the live chat room. So let's give a hi out there, see who's hanging out. Oh, I got a little something on my chin. Oh, hey, there's skins out there hanging in
Caught
there.
that one in time.
Green too, man. Sorry about that. Mr. Lance Windsor is joining us live tonight as well, and we'll all have to welcome Sir Richard Allen to the chat room. He is definitely watching. Hello. Now's the opportunity for you to call Jevin a cunt if you wanted to do so on the air. Brenda Joy, how you doing out there? Glad you are with us as well. Star Shine is saying hello. Mr. Dean Cooper, our quasi-theorist himself, our moderator. That's right. Jevin, Richard says I call you a cunt for him. There you go, you cunt. So, live on the air, you got your cunt in, Richard. That's right, Richard wins. Let's see here. Call your Wilmas. How you doing there, buddy? Now, batting third, our center fielder, Mr. Kurt Harris. How you doing out there, Kurt Harris? Glad you could join us. Mr. Rodney Dupree in the place to be. He's joined us in the chat room as well. Lots of people out there. Killer Wolf 0022. How you doing? Glad you could join us. Barry Bishop stopped in. He'll catch the archive later. So how you doing, Barry? Look at that. My little Mexican friend, Mr. Ricky Perez. I don't think that's Mexican, though. Where do the Perez's come from? Are they Puerto Rican? I don't know. Tell me, Ricky, where do your people come from? I like people like you. Hey, man, I went down to Mexico. I got me some Ricky Perez. Just don't know that's how that works out. But nah, the Bigfoot guy.
Hey, he's here.
Yeah, he's probably getting ready to go out squatching. That guy's always in and out of here as well.
Yeah, he did a video on Facebook about some stormy weather. I was really worried that he wouldn't make it.
Yeah, Vikings are starting back up on TV tonight. And sure enough, we got a Dan Hode right here in the chat room. How you doing, Dan? Glad you're out there as well.
I love the music on that show. Oh man,
dude, yeah, that's a freaking fantastic show. I've got a DVR, and it starts as soon as the show is over tonight as well. Yeah, that's right. Macaws do not drool, buddy. My macaw will eat your friggin' rodent like it was no joke. Anyhow, Cameron Young is, of course, checking in for this to hang out with us tonight as well. Let's see. We're getting up higher and higher in the chat box. It goes earlier and earlier. These people were chatting in here like all day long.
Wow.
We do that sometimes. Well, yeah, when I start them up early, boy, they get to just a banging it away. But I hate to miss anybody early, but the more y'all chat, the less I can see. So that's kind of how that works out. And we want you to chat. Talk it up, people, because that's what it is all about. So let's give us a scroll back down here to the bottom, make sure we didn't miss anybody. If you didn't, leave me a comment in the live chat room. I don't know your answer, so I can't say your name. There we go. Galveston 340, Texas in the house. That's right. Woohoo! Non-woo. Give them a tree knock from the Sam Houston National Forest. How you doing there, Galveston 340? Most of your people down there don't like me, but it's not my fault. It's theirs. Anyhow, that's who's hanging out in the chat room tonight. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out live with us. It is going to be a fun one for sure. Now we're going to get over to the super fan part of this show early tonight. Look at that, 4 minutes early at that. We're going to get into Mr. Jevin Moore's ideas on crap not to camp with. Crap to camp with? Crap to avoid while camping, all kind of good stuff. So let's kick off the first one here, Jevin. What are we talking about here?
All right, let me get my screen share going on. Now, I have to use a cheat sheet because I have to write everything down. So it just
that's all right. We can see that cheat sheet too, by the way.
I know. There's nothing I can do about it unless I do this.
That's okay.
All right, top 5 dumbest gear of 2016. Number 5, no, 5 being the least lamest, and this is the best I can do. The body bag, sleeping bag.
I've seen these before. I dig this.
I
have something close to this. I'm serious. I have a quilted, not down, but I have a quilted coverall that I use as a layer when I go out in April to the Sierras when it's like -7 degrees at night.
Well,
so if you're sleeping in a tent,
first impressions of each item, and the first impression I got from this is from the makers of moms that wrap their kids in too much winter clothing comes this ridiculous new camping item.
Well, it's not so much a snowsuit. This isn't something you want to send your kid out to run around and play in. However, if you're going to be sleeping in those conditions, it does kind of make it convenient to get up and pee.
That's true.
Just saying.
That is true. Okay.
You can sleep in a hammock, bro. You can add this.
That's why this is number 5. This is why it's number 5. It's not
I'm digging
quite
it.
as stupid as some of the stuff I have found.
Dumbest thing we've seen so far tonight. All right, number 5.
Number 4. The off-road Segway.
Didn't the inventor of the Segway die on an off-road Segway? If I'm not mistaken, the inventor of the Segway literally drove an off-road Segway off a cliff and died. I'm pretty sure that actually happened. I'm pretty sure that actually happened. I mean, the Atkins died possibly in the Atkins diet, but pretty sure that the Segway man actually drove the Segway off of. That's fantastic. Okay, I'm down with you. That was the second stupidest thing we saw tonight.
All right, and my note is, I love the great outdoors, but don't want to touch it. Walking is 2,000 lady away.
That's right. So you can spend $1,500 on one of these things used. And
all right, this one
never touch the ground.
This is number 3. It's the propane coffee maker.
Why is this horrible? If you like brewed coffee, this is fantastic.
But Jeff, come on, you get all kinds of. There's been coffee makers that don't use propane since the invention of camping.
You can just throw the grounds in there and French press it and have a better cup of coffee. But
is just another reason to use propane bottles you'll never refill.
Well, you can refill these though.
Well, yeah, but me and my family are lazy. We just gonna throw them away.
Yeah, you can refill these off of one of the big bottles. It's a little kit now. It's kind of neat. By the way, if you don't know that, seriously, these little 1 bottle cans that everybody uses, if you've got a big, the big propane thing for your barbecue at home, you can fill these little 1 pounders off of it. You can get the piece off of eBay for like $8 and and refill your 1 pounders before you go camping. Yeah, don't throw those away. Those are completely refillable, and you can refill them right off of your big one. Just get a small kit off of eBay, and you'll never buy another one because everybody has a freaking gas grill. So just fill your 1 pounders up off of your gas grill bottle, and you'll never buy 1 pounders again. Unless there's something physically wrong with that bottle, it's cracked, it's warped, it's dented or something, it's totally usable to refill, and I would. That's just me, anyhow. Moving right along.
Okay. Well, if you want, you can go out and buy it. It's made by Coleman, and just for something.
Coleman makes everything, man. Coleman is
do.
I want to be a Coleman engineer. I want to go be a Coleman test person. Just give me all the Coleman gear you have from 2017, and let me go test all your gear out. I would love to do that.
Yeah, they're like the Weyland-Yutani of camping gear. It's weird. All right, number 2, the camp cupboard.
Dude, you think this is stupid? I don't know.
For when you want to feed every bear in the park, except no substitute. I mean, this thing you have to hang in a reach, and if it's going to be in your reach, it's going to be reach of the fucking bears.
But you don't necessarily leave it there overnight. You just leave it there while you're preparing food. You put a table underneath it, and you put your cook surfaces right up underneath it, and you got everything in reach.
Know that they're going to leave it out.
Yeah, that's true. They are. You're right. I'm thinking logically, and boy, this is how to avoid being stupid at camping. So this is a dumb idea. People don't buy this.
Exactly. And at number 1, this stupid thing, the wood burning
USB charger. Let's burn down the forest. Let's burn down the forest so we can charge up our cell phone.
Now, my notes on this is really great because your car is way over there. And your off-road Segway battery is too low.
That's right. Your Segway battery is too low to charge your cell phone up on it. So, look, we get it. It's gas electric. We understand the concept of it, but the amount of wood that you would have to burn to actually charge up your whole cell phone would be hours upon hours upon hours. If you're just looking to make a phone call in an emergency, this is great. Fire it up, plug it in, power the phone up, call 911, send them a picture of your genitals. I don't know what you're doing,
or you can do what I do and leave your fucking phone in your car to charge overnight as you sleep.
Or just don't have your phone on when you're walking around in the woods. Turn it off. Imagine that. Turn it off. Turn the phone off. Oh, no. My phone never turns off.
But, Jeff, what do they say about Bigfoot?
Yeah, I would say, look, if you're going to carry something to cook on, this is probably not the ideal thing to have.
Well, it can get hot enough to boil water. I'll give that.
Yeah, that's great if you're going to be drinking boiled water.
It's like a backpacking item. This could be useful, but not for car camping.
I'm not cooking eggs on this. Yeah. I might warm up some chunky soup on it. That might be a thing, but yeah, it's not so much. So there you go, folks. Jevons. Top 5 things to avoid buying when you're going camping because they're stupid.
Exactly.
Top 5 stupidest shit not to buy for camping. I agree with that. There are plenty of many better things to buy than the list of any of those things that were on that list. I would totally 100% agree with you. The number 1 item you buy when you go camping, white, non-scented toilet paper.
Exactly. You never know when you didn't boil that water just properly.
Well, let's be truthful about poops in the woods. Okay, look, if you're gonna drink the wild water and you're only gonna be camping 3 days, chances are you're gonna be fine. You're not gonna get sick right away. Chances are you're not going to get sick for a week. You're going to be in your cubicle back in town with the absolute worst diarrhea of your life trying to figure out where it came from, whether Susie Q dipped her finger before she gave you your tuna salad from the Subway, or whether somebody dipped your coffee cup in the urinal before you came to work. Either way, you're going to have no clue where it's going to come from. You're going to go to the doctor. He's going to give you an antibiotic, and it's all going to go away. Also, if you're in the woods and you're surviving and all you have is wild water, but I can't boil it, drink it anyhow. Chances are you're going to be found before you die of giardia or dysentery or whatever the hell you're going to die of because of the giardia.
And also your stomach acid might help to neutralize that shit.
You know, if you're not smart enough to build a charcoal sand filter, I can't really help you with life. But you know, you can burn a little bit of wood and you can make a charcoal sand filter and push the water through it with a sock. You're probably going to be okay. But if you don't have enough intelligence to figure out the basic filtering of water, I've watched TV shows with groups of survivalists who didn't filter the water. Tastes like tea.
Ugh.
Oh, you're too damn dumb to filter it, I see. For like a week, they drank boiled, unfiltered water. Morons. Anyhow, speaking of morons, back for more camping tips for stupids with your boy Jim and Moore. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
All right. So what's the next things up on our list, sir?
Oh, well, I happen to have a category list of stuff that I thought I should probably talk about.
All right. Well, what's the first thing up on that item list?
Well, top 5 things I thought that if I were to teach somebody about camping that didn't know jack ass about camping, this is probably the list I'd give them.
The top 5 things a jackass should know about camping. I like it. Let's start with number 5.
All right. Number 5 is shelters.
Shelters. Okay.
Now, you gotta have shelter if you want to keep the rain and the bear piss off you. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, because bears are known to come right up into camp, hike their leg, and pee right up on somebody laying there on the ground.
Yeah. Now, personally, I like tents because they give me a false sense of security with those nylon walls.
Exactly. I totally understand the concept of that.
Also, unlike hammocks, which I know you're a big fan of, they also can double for good storage space.
Storage space for what?
For your gear and shit.
Oh, so you have that same false security sense of security because that
if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Nobody's going to think
that 16th of an inch canvas is going to keep that stuff so sight. So.
Well, as a dry spot to put shit anyway.
Well, usually if I'm really worried about my gear, I hang it like 50 feet in the air like I do at bears. And I figure if somebody's willing to really get my gear from 50 feet out of the air, then I guess they really wanted my gear. So I kind of let it go. But yeah, shelter's very, very important. You have to shelter yourself against the elements. Yeah. Exposure is what kills most people when they're lost or camping in the woods improperly. The wind comes, it wicks that cold air right against you. Next thing you know, it's 50 degrees outside, but you've got hypothermia and you freeze to death because you didn't understand you needed to insulate yourself from the ground.
Yeah.
So
you can easily insulate yourself from the ground by using branches that are leafy and stuff. You basically create a barrier between you and the ground.
If nothing else, a giant pile of just debris.
Yeah.
We're talking leaves, dirt, everything you can find, crawl into the middle of it, pile it on top of you, insulate yourself from the elements. If nothing else, a giant debris pile will work as a shelter for an emergency type of situation, but not for camping. If you want to go camping with me, Jevin, I got to demand that you at least put up, like a tarp half shelter, something. A debris pile, you're going to stink after about half a day. You're going to up your butt and bite you right in the wiener, and you're going to be crying about it. So, probably not long term, but shelter is important. Tents I dig. I do the hammock thing because it's the most comfortable way to sleep off the ground for me. Most people, when they put up a tent, they just throw their butts down on the ground or blow up a pool mattress, and they sleep on top of those things. A proper camping cot makes everything so much more comfortable. Yeah. But for me, I usually go camping with people, so I usually don't have my own car. So when I'm going camping with people, I've got to consider that I need to compact my gear in such a way that I don't take over the car. Yeah, so that's why I've always been
to the style of camping and region we're going. If we're going to backpack in, then I'll take gear for that. You know, if I go
Right,
car
exactly.
camping,
That's what families of people, and that's what they usually find out is they don't have one set of camping gear, but they end up with multiple sets of camping gear
Yeah.
depending on what type of camping they're actually going to go and do. I find that with the hammock setup, it pretty much works just about almost anywhere you go but the desert. So, and it can work in the desert if you have a hammock hanger. There's literally a $60 device that you can hang your hammock from that you can set up on the ground, and you can hang your hammock anywhere. So you're really not even screwed at that point. Anyhow, all right, let's talk about number 4 here. What you got on the number 4?
Number 4 is what I've titled as mess kits, and they're basically your not the stuff you well, it could include stuff you cook your food with. Because like I got me here my new GI mess kit that I like to show off. I can get it.
Yeah, grab it real quick. That's no problem. The mess kits are very good. In your personal gear, every single person should have a mess gear. Should have mess gear of their own. Now, mess kit they should have their own plate, a knife, a fork, a spoon, a stainless steel cup, and some type of a water bottle. That should be the very minimum of a mess kit that you have, and to be able to boil water in it. And Jevin's got he's got a GI one. I have
this one. Yeah. Now this one I got off the eBay on the internet, and it's an actual unused one, still in a box. I don't know what era it's from. It's probably from the 80s, but so this is my new mess kit. I used to have these when I was a kid, but I lost it. And I also got the original GI style utensils. And these things are tough, man. And look at this. I can dig a foxhole if I wanted to with this fucker.
Well, that's exactly what they were meant to be used. They were meant to be used as tools. They weren't just little things to eat with.
I didn't know they even made this for this, but they actually have a pouch. And I got the unused pouch for it too. This is freaking cool. Well, yeah, so I got me here a whole kit. I can actually use this to cook my food with. I can use this as a frying pan on a fire.
That is correct. We cooked up many egg and warmed up many a piece of Spam on them things.
Yeah, so this
yummy.
I mean, Warsurp gear is usually the best camping gear you can find.
Well, when it comes to that kind of stuff, yes. When it comes to like tents and that kind, I mean, look, I would love to have like a nice army, headquarters tent. But those things are like $900 and they weigh like 300 pounds. So they're not exactly transportable by one person. I tell people, it's like, oh, great. You bought that gigantic tent. Does it come with a semi and a crew to set it up? I don't have any circus elephants. The block and tackle are still hanging up in the barn. So I don't know who's going to be setting that up for you that you bought that great big of a tent. But yeah, definitely for sure. The mess kit, every single camper should have their very own mess kit. Even if it's just a plastic plate, a plastic cup, and, plastic knife, spoon, and fork. You should have that in your gear because you ain't borrowing mine. I'm sorry. I don't like to lend out my best kit to anybody because that's.
Word of warning though: avoid aluminum with surfaces you eat your food on. It is toxic.
Well, yeah, they think it's linked to Alzheimer's disease and all kind of bad things. So just stay away from aluminum. Stainless steel is safe, pretty much up to the point that it's red hot. So don't.
Yeah, aluminum is also really soft metal. I mean, the first mess kit I bought was from Pathfinder, which usually makes great survival gear. But the crap kit I got, which is up there, if you've seen the video, it's fragile. It bends so easily. My dad showed me that.
It looked like a Taiwanese knockoff is what it looked like. It looked like an Asian knockoff. And unfortunately for the Asian troops, that's exactly what they get. They get Asian knockoffs of our gear. And it's comical sometimes. Comedic at times how horrible the knockoffs really are when you see those types of things on eBay. You can get Red Army surplus on eBay just like you can U.S. Army surplus. You just have to look for it.
American and Russian and British surplus is pretty good.
The Brits always say that we have better kit, and that means gear. So, that's coming from the Brits that I've talked to.
Maybe third best.
I remember having that conversation with with Adam Davies across the fire pit about military gear, and he was like, yeah, the Brits always wanted the Army gear because they had better kit. So anyhow, so that's number 3 on that list.
Oh, you can still see my screen?
No, I'm just guessing.
Well, number 3 is hygiene kit. Is hygiene. What I call a hygiene kit is basically
hygiene. Yeah. Most definitely. A hygiene kit is important.
Yeah.
Hygiene kit, like we talked about, Angel Soft. White, non-scented, non-colored. It's safest for the environment. You can literally poop until your brain's content with that stuff and drop it in a hole, and you're not going to hurt the earth at all. The first time it dries and rains, it's going to be gone anyhow. But baby wipes are always good to have in a hygiene kit. Definitely friggin' nose blowers, friggin' snot rags. What are those things called?
Tissues?
Tissues. Yes, thank you. Hand cleaner, the Purell, the alcohol based hand cleaners.
Sanitary wipes. That's what I was going to talk about. Sanitary wipes take the place of soap. You can use them all over your body. You can basically give yourself a sponge bath with sanitary wipes, and you're fresh and good. And another trick is, if you don't have any of that, and you could take a smoke bath, which is basically you just kind of step over a really smoky fire, and that smoke actually kills the bacteria on your skin that causes body odor.
Yeah, but I would rather you take your clothes off and wash them in the creek. You're usually going to get a little better response out of that. Inside your hygiene kit too, don't forget your toothbrush. It's important to keep your teeth and your gums clean while you're out in the field as well.
I also would put medications, like if you're allergic to bee stings like me, have a kit for that in the kit too.
Also, you don't want to forget a pair of nail clippers. Nail clippers are important, because if you got hangnails or split nail while you're out there in the field, that can turn into a nasty infection in just a couple of days. So make sure you have proper nail care. Make sure before you go out there that your toenails are good and short and taken care of. I mean, the bush is nowhere really to be playing with any of this hygiene stuff. I mean,
that reminds me, also keep something that can kill bacteria, because it's not this like bug bites. It's not like the spider's venom usually that causes infections. It's the bacteria on their fangs.
It's the Neosporin. Yeah, definitely keep a bottle of Neosporin around. Keep a is a first aid kit on your list there anywhere?
Well, it's no, I didn't think about that. That's my weakest point with camping is medical. I gotta work on that.
The other week is like goodbye.
Okay.
But you can consider that as part of a hygiene kit. Your basic first aid kit should have Band-Aids in it. It should have, should have some kind of a compression bandage in it. So, especially one that has blood clotting agents in it. A basic IFAC Army, which is a individual first aid kit. You can get them for about $30 on eBay. Should be part of your hygiene kit.
It will be now.
It literally has everything you would imagine that you could need in there. Little pill bottles of still your everything short of needing stitches are in an IFAC, and they're relatively cheap. So that should definitely be something gets added onto your kit. All right, we're up to number 3. Number 2.
Number 2 is your fire kit. Everything you need to make a campfire.
Beer,
and I catch you using gasoline to make a campfire with.
Oh my God, gasoline! Don't you dare do it. No. Okay, here's the thing about fire and gasoline. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Fire and diesel.
It's not the liquid that actually combusts. It's the fumes.
Right. Fire and diesel fuel is just fine because it has more oil added to it, and you're not going to combust it and blow up. It actually takes a minute or two for the oil to actually heat to the point that it's going to blow up. So if you're going to throw a cup of something on it, best be diesel fuel. Yeah. Two-stroke fuel usually has enough oil in it to not combust right away. But throwing gasoline on a fire is just dumb. Mm-hmm. If you already got a fire, you should be able to build it. If your kindling isn't dry enough, well, damn on you, dumbass. That's not the fire's fault. Don't pour no gas on it. Right. The other thing I thought about just today too, and I've never done it, but it would be a smart thing. Take a small bag of charcoal with you on wet camping trips. Because that way you can just lay that bag of charcoal down in the bottom of the fire pit and light it on fire, and then you've got 2 hours of hot coals to dry out anything that might be needing to dry out before it catches on fire. And then you've got a fire to do the same thing built around it. So a small bag of just cheap ass charcoal, match light charcoal would probably be a smart thing to add to a car camping trip, especially if it's going to be rainy.
Nice.
Fire log. Well, I used to use fire logs, but then you can't cook on those.
No.
A fire log will spoil your fire until that fire log is gone. However, a small bag of charcoal will not. So what else is in your fire kit there, Slick?
Well, right now, all I got personally is a stupid ferro rod and a lighter. So I need to gear up on that. What I've been really wanting to get is a Viking style flint and steel kit.
A flint and steel kit. Now, I've used those, and those are wonderful things if you master them.
Yeah.
However, that's the thing you have to do is practice a little more, practice a little. If you're going to depend upon that, see, me, I'm all for it. Practice your Viking crap there, pal. Get the spark going. Light a fire. That's wonderful. But I'm going to have a Bic in my pocket.
Yes. Also keep ferro rods and Bic lighters all over.
So that when you fail, I'm going to be able to reach over there and just go, there you go, pal.
Yeah.
Glad I got you.
Like a hooker for aesthetics and fun.
Like a hooker on payday. I got you back.
Yeah, but ferro rods are great, but the problem is you may not have fine tinder to catch the sparks, and that's where a flint and steel kit can come in handy. Is you have your own char cloth with them, and you can make your char cloth. And the best one I've researched is to use denim.
Well, yeah, but if you're carrying a ferro rod, why wouldn't you then just make your own char cloth? Put your ferro rod and your char cloth in a secrets box or a curiously strong peppermint bit box, since we don't advertise for them people, and just keep your char cloth with your ferro rod, and then you got a better kit. I'm all for ancient ways. When I was a kid, we used to take our axes and we'd go down to the creek. And we'd smack our axes against the rocks down there, the hammer side of them, until they sparked, and that's how you picked up the quartz. And we used to go and start fires with a quartz and an axe. I mean, it was just something little heathen children do. Damn it, them heathen children are lighting fires with them damn quartz rocks again, Jerry. Get off the lawn! But it's just what we did when we were kids. I mean, and we learned to do that, and that's wonderful. Now, would I depend upon me being able to do that? If I were stuck in a survival situation and all I had was an axe and a river quartz, I could probably, after days of trying, get it done. But I wouldn't depend upon that. I'd still pull that damn Bic out of my pocket and go, like a hooker on payday, I got your back.
All right, and number one is beer. Because camping is supposed to be fun and enjoyable.
Inebriant. Let's just call it that. Instead of saying beer, let's call it inebriants. Whatever your inebriant of choice may be. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Camping is supposed to be fun. Do you ever see Reverend Jeff even get off the quad? Yes, a lot, but not when I'm having fun. See, when I'm having fun, I'm definitely on the quad, because that's what quads are. They're fun, jackass. But definitely. But don't do stupid shit once you're inebriated, and always have a designated, non-inebriated camp manager. Yes. Somebody every night at least take a turn at being the asshole. Mm-hmm. No, Jevin, you can't play Jack Be Nimble, Jack Be Quick, Jack jumped off his barrel. Yeah, no, we're not playing Jack Be Nimble over the damn campfire. Not happening. I can do it. I got these new moves. I'm sure you can, but you're gonna burn your dick off, and we all know it. So there's just none of that going on. Okay, we still got another list to get through here, and we started a little bit late. So why don't we get to the last list that you've got for us here? Okay. Which list is this one now?
Actually, this is the last list.
Was this the last list? Okay, I thought there was more. Okay, so no, this is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. I was the confused one on that, folks. I'm sorry. I promised another list, so now I'll give you one. What would be your top 5 advisable particular items to bring along with you for a camping trip? And you personally are only allowed to bring 5 items on a camping trip. What would they be?
Well, are they essential to the whole of the camping trip, or just items that?
Oh, you only have enough space in the vehicle that you're going on a camping trip with. You can only bring 5 things.
All right.
That could be all the way up to a tent, but you know, whatever the case may be, you can bring 5 things, and you're going to be gone for a week.
Week, huh? Well, definitely a tent.
Kits
then.
are considered kits are considered a single thing.
Oh, well, shit. Yeah, mess kit. Gonna need that. Fire kit.
Right.
Gonna need that. And you know, because they're gonna be fishing up there. Could take a fishing kit.
Could be. I don't know. That's the thing is that I know nobody knows. We don't know where you're going. We just know you're going.
Right, so 10,
and you're going for a week, and you can only bring 5 things.
I'll definitely take my hatchet with me for firewood processing, and my large knife because I hate bears. And shit, I don't know. Probably my canteen kit because I can do stuff too. I guess that'll work.
You don't plan on staying warm at night?
Well, that's part of the tent kit, ain't it?
See,
and all that.
that makes it tough. So I'll tell you what, guys, think about it. Think about it. What you guys are out there watching, leave a comment down here in the bottom with what 5 things you would take with you on a camping trip if you could only bring 5 things. Here's what the Reverend would bring. The Reverend would bring his first aid kit because he's smart.
Yes.
He would bring a pot to boil water in. He would bring a fire kit. He would bring a sleeping bag, and he would bring a hatchet of some sort. Those would be the 5 things that the sleeping bag is important because I can build a shelter with the hatchet.
Right.
Don't really need the tent. I can build a shelter with the hatchet, just out of pine boughs if I have
to. Is this a survival scenario or what?
Well, you're going camping. That's your choice. But you can only bring 5 things. So, I don't know. Sounded like a fun idea to me. So leave us comments in the bottom there. What 5 things? You could only bring 5 things. What would those 5 things be? And none of us brought inebriants, so somebody better have some of those. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. See, that's the thing. It's like if you're going on this big camping trip, you can kind of guarantee that other people are going to bring things. Like you brought a fire kit and I brought a fire kit. That was kind of stupid. But for me personally, though, it's one of the things I got my Bic. Okay. There's my fire kit. I can bring my Bic and something to process firewood with. I'm in pretty good shape. So other than that, I can build a shelter. I like my sleeping bag because I'm a fat man and I like to be comfortable. So, I would still lay down a bunch of pine boughs before I'd put my sleeping bag on the ground. That just wouldn't happen. I'd probably figure out how to build a hammock out of paracord. Yeah, something went thumping tonight. Anyhow, let's get this all wrapped up, Jeb, tonight. You got a final thought for the night on camping tips, how to not be stupid?
Yeah, tell everybody you're going camping in case something happens. People know where you went. Just let people know you're going out there because I'm sick and tired of seeing people go missing and not realize they've been missing, or people don't realize.
Did y'all hear about that girl Chantel Witherbottom? She's gone missing. Well, where is she? That's the point.
Yeah, she didn't tell us where she went.
Exactly. She didn't tell nobody. Oh, speaking of which, I'm actually starting to do an investigation video on. There's going to be an hour-long video on the disappearance or the abduction of Sherry Darville from the 1970s. Apparently, she was kidnapped by a Bigfoot.
Wow.
So I'm starting a little bit of an investigation.
Yeah, that's another thing. Another good piece of advice is don't go unarmed out there, guys. Seriously, not just bears and shit. You got other shit out there. I mean, I got abducted by aliens once. They don't even the neighborhood I lived in. So, goddamn.
Take something to protect myself against them stupid humans that are out there. Those are the ones that I'm afraid of. Yeah, I'm not even so much afraid of the animals that are out there. I can usually scare them away, but there's some stupid humans that are usually the problem. So we want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Jevin, the Super Fan Show at Camping Tips for Stupid was fantastic, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. You're welcome to come back and do another show with us anytime you'd like. And with that, you people ain't got to go home, but you sure as hell got to get the heck up out of here. We will see y'all next week. Join us Monday night for Bigfoot Entertainment Weekly, and another Bigfoot campfire story is on your way on Friday. That's right. So, happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah's coming. Hanukkah. All you Jewish people out there, may your people be safe in Israel and safe in America and have a wonderful holiday season.
Merry fucking Christmas.
If you're celebrating Kwanzaa, well, happy Kwanzaa, I guess. I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know if you celebrate it or you just observe it, but, Merry Kwanzaa. We're getting into the Christmas season pretty soon. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's not Christmas season yet,
Wow.
About the 15th of December, we can call it, Christmas. Up until then, happy holidays, everybody. From the Sponsor Now podcast, from my family to yours. See you next week, people.
Bam.
Masturbate.